Hey everybody! Happy Thursday. We're
Happy
happy.
I'm home.
I know. Look, Pam is actually in a building. Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah, hey.
If this was here's the thing with Kevin Angel and Joshy, they would be like boom with the bombs, blah blah. It would be like a whole lot of noises, but we don't have those capabilities right now. Excuse me, I'm feeling a little off. I actively wear a mask to avoid sickness, but I was outside talking in the cold for about 2 hours. So I think I might have messed myself up. So that what you hear up in here is what that is. So anyway, look, it's March. It's a new month. There are new topics to discuss, new things to get into. First off, it's the most probably important part of this month, except for Jasmine's birthday and my godsister's birthday and my niece's birthday. After that, okay, it is Women's History Month. So happy Women's History Month to all the dope fire women.
Is there a sign for that other than the I don't want to
Girl,
use the Black
no,
Power
they
fist
stole that
for
from us.
the
That is the symbol, but it was ours first.
women's empowerment.
We need something else, like a dove or something. We need something else. I don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, happy Women's History Month to all the dope, incredible, legendary women of the past, present, and the future, baby, because this is long term. We're gonna have an incredible profile for you. I had the best time learning about this historical figure today because I learned a lot. I was today years old when I found out that Jet magazine that I grew up revering with Ebony was actually the Shade Room back in the day. That's literally what Pam told me today and what I read, and I was shocked.
I told her, I said, listen, we used to read stuff in the Jet and go, don't pay that any mind. That's in the Jet. It could or could not be true.
I will talk about it, but I was today years old. Anyway, today's episode is going to be a little different. You know, we always try to be informative. We always try to give you a little something, you know what I mean? Leave you with something to take. We've been podcasting for over a year now, which sounds crazy. We've had a lot of engaging, incredible conversations, but we want to be clear in my best TI voice. Shout out to all the fans across the world that love ATL as much as I do. Be clear. This is my daddy house. For those of you who need a translation, that's be clear. Okay. So you want to be clear with you today about
and for the next few episodes.
And for the next few, at least for the month.
Yeah.
Okay. About what this whole create generational wellness thing that we made up. If you hear other people using it in the streets, you know where to come. About what it truly takes to either start to become the person, identify if you already are the person, or how can you further
if you're making progress to
the
become
process of becoming a person that is all about the path to creating generational wellness. So whether you've been rocking with us for the first episode, whether you jumped in somewhere in last year, whether this is the first time you have ever seen these beautiful melanated Black faces, including Aaliyah, and you're just interested in being like, what is all this create generational wellness hoopla? You should stick around because this episode is for you.
Hi, I'm Pam Williams, a mother.
And I'm Jessica E. Williams, a daughter. And this is a mother and a daughter truthful chat, where we discuss our 35-year multi-layered relationship.
We've been through so many ups and downs. Not only are we family, but we're business partners in the high-stress world of event planning and production for short films.
We've also shared the same therapist for over 10 years. What some people call codependence, we call collaboration.
So join us as we share stories from our lives,
have candid conversations with other mother-daughter duos,
and shed light on the roller coaster ride of being a woman while raising a woman.
I still really love our theme song. I'm a 90s kid, so I'm really big on theme songs. I hope that whenever you hear it in the intro, you are calm, you are relaxed. Even on the outro, you just can't wait for next week. I just hope it's a thing and a thing. We like to create vibes around here. Welcome to the Create Generational Wellness universe, okay? And that being said, welcome to Truthful Chats. Oh, this orange juice is life right now. I'm telling you, they're trying to get me. I won't be gotten. All right, Truthful Chats is our weekly podcast show under the umbrella of Create Generational Wellness. Okay, it is again weekly podcast. So every month here at the umbrella of Create Generational Wellness, we have a theme of the month, and Truthful Chats are where we come and we unpack that theme just a little bit further. We dig into it. Okay, you can go back to the beginning of this podcast that started in January of last year.
2023.
Every single month has a word, more or less. There were some times we were figuring it out, so at some point it gets clear. So every month there's a word. We unpack the word throughout the month. And so it's March, as I said. Happy Women's History Month yet again. And March is Tenet. All right. Shout out to all of those who have supported Christopher Nolan and homie. Shout out to you, JD. Okay. For Tenet, a movie I enjoyed. I know some people said they were confused, they didn't get it. It was out for a week, I think last week. I really want to get there, but I just did not. And it was on IMAX too. So I'm really sorry. I really want to get there, but life be life. Christopher Nolan, just do it again. Come on. Just do it again.
It was back out?
It was back out for like a week in IMAX. And I swear I was going to see it. But I was supporting a hip hop story. Shout out to Ivana, Avion Crockett. Congratulations to y'all. I just love that it's so many Black things to support. Okay. But I feel like Tenet needs to be re-released at least one more time in IMAX. Anyway, so today's word, or the month's word, is Tenet. And today's episode is Create Generational Wellness, or we're going to abbreviate that, CGW Tenet. So the CGW Tenet that we're discussing today is your one of one. And if we were going to add the Queen on top of it, though we are fearful of copyright infringement, the rest of the song, or the psalm, says, I'm one of one, the only one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you might be asking, what is a tenet? Like, the tenets of faith, the tenets of this, So
Tenet, as they said in the movie. Yeah.
Tenet.
I got a word for you.
All right. So the technical definition is a principle or belief around a religion or philosophy. So when we talk about a CGW tenet, we're talking about the things that we believe are important to create generational wellness. So for an example, they're talking about the tenets of a democratic society, which could technically be in jeopardy at this point.
That's in flux at the moment.
Yes, but there are certain principles.
America, I don't know what season of America we're on, but y'all getting ready to get into the reruns. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like you are at all invested in the future. As a Black American, I think I know for a fact, we have saved democracy time and time again. And I'm really getting tired of saving y'all. If y'all don't know, you came over here and made up all this, God wanted us to take over the world and evangelize and all the foolishness that bought y'all from Europe here. You killed millions of people. You enslaved millions of people and brought them over here. So listen, America, if you're ready to start going back to them, get to them European reruns, we done seen dictators before. We done seen oligarchs and autocracies and all of that. I'm just saying, if that's what you want, I think you should have what you want. So anyway, the fate of America is in all of our hands. Maybe, as Gabby Wilson once said, aka her, we voted, but did we really get to choose? And that's the part we all don't really know. Only Jesus knows. I'm really hoping if it gets really bad, even though in parts of the world it's really, really bad. Somebody showed me something from Gaza and I was like, not that I am not standing with the Palestinians full force, okay? I want everyone to operate in love. But I was like, my brain, heart, and mind cannot comprehend that, or else I will lay out on the floor every day. Shout out to Amanda Seals and all the people that's taking it in every day. I realize maybe I'm not built like that, okay? But if it gets truly, truly bad, I really just hope that Jesus and or the aliens will just call it cut and then we'll all go from here. Anyway, back to the CGW tenets. I digress.
So you are one of one. We're going to start with that. So
in a tenet of a teetering democratic society, I think that's what you were saying.
That part. Mm-hmm. So with generational wellness, you can't begin to even think about that until you start to think about personal fulfillment. If you are not personally fulfilled, you are going to constantly kind of be at odds with yourself, not feeling good. There's just this gnawing misery or
Can you
something.
expand on what you think personal fulfillment means? That seems like a loaded term.
Well, I think it doesn't mean that everything is perfect in your life, but in the place where you are fulfilled. You are fulfilled with the roles that you're playing. You're fulfilled with the places that you're planning to go, even if you're not exactly where you want to be right now. You have a vision for somewhere that you're planning to go. You have a goal that you're working on. You're generally in a state, like for me, if I had a good ribeye steak at the end of that meal, I would be there's a satisfaction. There's a sense of satisfaction that's exactly what I wanted to eat, with a baked potato and some broccolini, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
So specific.
So very specific, which is very important to think about in terms of your personal fulfillment. You need to be
It's called personal fulfillment.
You need to be specific and intentional in those things that are going to make you personally fulfilled and satisfied. Because I can guarantee you, if you're not, your misery is going to seep out in ways. Your unsatisfaction, you're not feeling good about yourself. You're not did I say unsatisfaction?
You did, but it's
dissatisfaction.
And maybe unsatisfaction.
And unsatisfied. That's what I meant to say.
It's a hybrid. Get into it.
Unsatisfied. I'm drinking tea. Whatever. But anyway, personal fulfillment is that place where you feel satisfied with where you are in your life right now. May not be where you want to stay. You may be on your way somewhere else, but you're satisfied with who you are, the way you present, the way you think about your life. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel like, I hate it here? Yeah. So then that you're not personally
But it's fulfilled. Not, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have those days. It just means it's not a permanent or persistent, continuous feeling. Everybody has off day. But if you every single day for the past 5 years, you woken up like, I hate it here, you might want to talk to someone, number one. But, start to evaluate your level of personal fulfillment, satisfaction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. And so then you have to look at what makes you personally fulfilled. For a lot of people, it's your individual uniqueness and embracing it and not being like, I wish I was like so-and-so, or I wish I was like this person, or I wish I had that, or I wish I had, because that's usually the voice I hear in my head when I hear people, whining and complaining about it.
It sounds like Eeyore, but like almost.
Eeyore.
See?
But anyway.
You feel bad for him.
Yeah, you do. But people generally, when they're in that state of not liking themselves, not liking what's going on around them, not liking their lives, that's generally how you feel. And you want to get to a place where that's not the case. And so you can transform how you feel about yourself, and then you can transform how you interact in your everyday life, what's going on in your life, how you show up every day. Do you show up with Eeyore on your face, or do you show up?
She got to do that.
Or do you show up like, okay, this is not exactly what I want, but I'm pressing for it. I'm like, okay.
Shout out to Johnny Mac, music.
Moving on. So we live in a world that wants everybody to be the same, to kind of be uniform, to, you look on
conformity.
If you look on Instagram, you see a lot of people doing a lot of the same stuff all the time. And then it's like,
all the time. Where's the originality?
Let's find something that's missing in the discourse of life, in the discourse of Instagram.
We're taught to like sameness, though. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, because you don't want fear of rejection. You don't want, like, I don't want to be the odd person out. But in being that person and embracing it and loving it, as Mr. Kendrick would say,
I love myself.
So if you can manage to do that, then you start to have a sense of personal fulfillment that's not based on what other people think about you and what's going on. And essentially, you have to at least learn to like yourself, and then
At the
hopefully
very least,
you'll get to loving yourself and appreciating what's truly unique about you and showing that to other people, because part of that is giving people permission to be themselves as well, to be the unique person that they are, and it be okay.
You know, that reminds me of, if you have not seen Core Jefferson, American Fiction, starring the Jeffrey Wright, Sterling K. Brown, Eric Alexander, Leslie Uggams. Okay, gotta see it. It's fantastic. I've seen it twice, and I'm like, I fall more and more in love with this movie every time. But one of the key lines that Sterling K. Brown's character says, who plays Jeffrey's brother, without spoiling the storyline, is he says, "People love you, Monk. Like you should
Monk
let them
is
love."
Jeffrey Wright.
Is Jeffrey Wright. People love you, Monk. You should let him love all of you. As he's contemplated parts of Sterling's character, as he's contemplated parts of himself that people in his life didn't get to know about him, and he's in his present state, and he's like, man, I really wish certain people could love all of me, right? And so, I don't know, as we're having this conversation, I think that's sort of part of it. We're not saying you have to jump into all of it head first and all at once, but at least if you get to like, then maybe it could grow to love, as they said in the wedding planner one time. So I don't know. That made me think of it. So
I like it.
You know, if people love you, then you should let them love all sides of you. So, and you should do that for yourself.
Right.
Okay?
So step one is a little bit of introspection and trying to figure out what it is that makes you unique, and you can't embrace it until you actually know what it is, right? So look at what your natural talents are, the things you like to do, your lived experiences. Ask yourself questions like, what am I naturally good at? What comes easy for me? What, all the time they say, what would I do for the rest of my life if I never got paid for? What are those things in your life that make you say, this is unique and special to me, and I'm okay with that? All right.
And I think one of the things we leave out, because I don't want that to sound like find you something to do, task oriented, and as much as it is, what are the things that actually fill you up, light you up, give you joy? I think we, because we live in conformity and uniformity, there's a design for that. But a lot of times we just learn to do what everyone else is doing, even to our own detriment. If you hate it, you well, everybody else is doing it, so it must work for somebody. Usually those people are killing parts of their soul, though. If you ask them and you sat down and you really had a deep conversation with them about what, not only just what they do, who their friends are, who they married to, their kids, most people would probably be like, I really don't like half of this, right? But because they've got on the conformity, uniformity conveyor belt, they just kind of just coasting along, right? So I think a lot of that is also just in the introspection, paying attention to I really actually like this thing, and not being afraid to say, this thing I've been doing the whole time, I actually hate it, and I'm off of it.
I'm going to transition. I'm going to transition. Our very, very first episodes last year were all about change, and it was because we wanted you to get into the mindset of, as you go through the year with us and as you journey through, there may be some things that you decide need to change, or that you want to change or have to change. So we wanted you to get prepped for the idea that change was a good thing. And if over the course of the year there were some things you needed to change, it was okay.
You'll just go back.
One of the other things, you might say, well, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what I'm naturally good at. I don't know where I'm gifted at. There are too many tests for that out right now. There's Myers-Briggs. I just found a new one today, the Fascination Advantage test, which we are going to take this weekend because it looks amazing. And we'll report back to you on that next week. But the Fascination Advantage test, there's, of course, the DISC assessment.
I still got to do my DISC.
And then there's also one called the Kolbe-A Index, which measures your instinctive actions. I'm anxious to take that one too. In a snap situation, what action would you take? So I heard that tells a lot about you
That
as
sounds
well.
like a test snitching on yourself a little bit. But okay.
But we're doing introspection, right? We're trying to become aware.
No.
All right. Ask the people around you that you trust. This one right here, she's going to give you a full whatever read of what you want to hear and what you don't hear. She's going to tell you.
Sometimes. It depends. It depends on the person.
If she's being honest.
If I know you're sensitive.
If I'm being honest. But
or tender, I should say, not sensitive. That makes you sound weak. Tender.
There are people in your circle, I hope, that you trust that can speak into your life, that have been around you long enough to know some of your strengths, some of your weaknesses. And one of the things I have learned from the incomparable Chanel Tyus is to
shout out to Chanel Tyus always
to your strengths. The things that are your weaknesses, don't keep trying to make them better and better and better and better. Play into your strengths. Those are the places where you will excel, and the other stuff will fall into place. So again, think about what energizes you, the activities, the people. Sometimes it's even the aspects of your appearance that make you take pride in what you look like. I just told Jessica, I said, I look like a beatnik from the 1960s tonight with the hoops and the black and the whole thing, which doesn't bother me. I think that was a cool period, and I would have probably liked to live in that period. So whatever it is that you find out is unique about yourself, I'm going to call them a quirk. We went back and forth about this word.
Because quirkiness usually is associated with awkwardness and uncomfortableness or uncomfortability, which I think is my issue with the term. Which they could be things that you're actually uncomfortable with, but they also are. I feel like we need a new term to celebrate the uniqueness and the beauty and the fun of it. Quirk just makes it sound like nobody likes to be called quirky. You know what I mean? We need a different word.
Okay, we'll work on that.
We'll make a. But that's what we were talking about today. We'll use the word quirk today. But I'm like, every time I hear it, I'm like.
But I think it is kind of the things that you think are weird about yourself that are not.
I talk to myself all the time. Yeah. People think it is very strange. Yeah, I do not.
It's a quirk.
It's a sign of a healthy mind.
Yeah, for you. And you
no
come
period.
to no. I'm saying you have come to the place where you do not feel weird about talking to yourself. You feel like that's something that helps you maintain your mental health and your sanity.
And I've been around people and they be like, "Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself?" I'm talking to myself. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's a sign of healthy mind." And they go, "Oh, okay."
So again, that confidence, that assurance, that introspection, that self-awareness that lets her know, I'm okay with this. You might not be okay with it, but I'm okay. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. The things that you have in your life that you have picked up that serve you well, that somebody else might think is quirky, or you might be having a hard time coming to the realization that it's okay if I do this. So take the first step in embracing those things because they're part of your strengths. They're part of the things that you do to keep you and your mental mind and all and your things.
You in touch with your star player. Shout out to Cat Williams. Cat Williams been giving this game a long time. I just want to say that.
So you think, they're your little quirks, but they can significantly enhance your capabilities. They can significantly impact the world around you if you use your powers for good. You might have a different perspective, a distinct perspective about things. So you having that perspective may make you be in a room with other people that nobody sees it the way you see it.
I have been that person many times.
But the way you see it is brilliant. And if you're behind...
I'm not trying to hype myself up, but it's true.
But if you're stuck behind that thing that won't let you speak out and express your distinct perspective. I read this thing today. It said, your distinct perspective creates your distinct presence, which I thought was really, really dope. If you have a distinct perspective, when you're in the room, that is a distinct presence that would not be in the room if you were not there. And it's your job to express that, to let it come out, because it could be the answer to a problem that somebody's looking for. So your distinct perspective is yours. It's important. And it settles your presence in the room.
Now, can I say this as a person who knows that I have unique, diverse perspectives? I've been told they're great. Uh, but I am also the person that probably does not speak about them as much as I should. But for me, that's about, look at all the judgment. When she does her mouth like that, pure judgment. But that is because I have, and we'll talk about fear later, but the fear of lack of being able to communicate that clearly. That's usually why I'm like not. I've in numerous parts of my life been like, why don't you speak more? Why don't you talk more? Whenever you talk, it's like so. And I'm like, if I don't hear it from on high or I don't feel compelled, probably not gonna happen. But also sometimes it is the trepidation of being like, was I clear in that? Did that make sense? Like, so I have a lot of back and forth. But I think that it takes practice over time. I'm
Absolutely.
just throwing that out there.
That's the next part. Develop your quirks. All right.
Look at me.
The effectiveness of it is not static. It changes. You master it. So the more you say those things, you say them out loud, and there's a place of agreement or a place of, yes, that's what we need to hear, whatever. That goes into the growth and mastery of being comfortable with what it is you're feeling, what your perspectives are. And now this can lead to greater potential, greater personal fulfillment, and greater happiness, because now you don't have that anxiety of like, should I say it? Should anxiety. I not? Should I? Should. So we want to get past that. That's a part of personal growth and development. And then, like I said, those quirks can be the answer to a problem that somebody's had. So you want to use your different perspective for a creative purpose. You want to be able to help people problem solve. You want to be, whatever your job is, every job needs creativity. I don't care what it is and how you do it. You need it in some form or another. Of course, there are creative jobs, graphic designers, freelance, all that kind of stuff or whatever, might be more quote unquote creative.
Air quote creative.
You know what I mean? But
like a title creative.
Listen, if you're a teacher, if you're at the hospital, if you're a nurse or whatever, the creativity comes in. And so it could be, from filmmaking to an unconventional way to give somebody their medicine or whatever. Whatever it is, if you allow your distinct perspective and your creativity to come into it, it's going to improve the way you live your life and hopefully improve the quality of the way other people live their life. Practice self-compassion. I'm on this one all the time.
Me?
A little bit. You tend to be your worst critic.
I made a whole movie about it.
Yeah.
I already know that.
Yeah.
Are you on the martyr kick right now?
No, I'm just saying.
Are you?
No.
I beg to differ on that.
Show yourself the same kindness you would offer a friend.
If that's
all I'm saying.
All the things you want to offer.
People, show yourself the same kindness that you would offer a friend. All right.
She really just tried to sneak that one in there. Like, I'm here. I'm like, girl, I already know that, but okay.
Self-compassion is the first step towards using your sources, your perspective, your things as a strength. And so accept it, move forward, give yourself some grace, allow yourself to be imperfect, but you're still worthy of love and respect.
Love and respect.
At all times.
Love and respect, just for the people in the back.
Worthiness. Find humor in your quirks and the things that you do that.
We still need a new word. We got to think of a new word.
Find humor in your distinctiveness, your distinct. I don't know.
No. It needs to be short like quirk, but not be quirky.
All right. We're going to figure it out by next week. But a sense of humor is a powerful tool. If you know that you snort when you laugh, whatever, it's one of your quirks. So you ain't got to be embarrassed about a snort. That could tickle somebody, deep down in their soul.
Such an old lady word.
It is.
It's going to tickle me.
But laughing about, those things that you think are weird can help you push through. Find joy in them, find strength in them. And it invites others to be themselves and be like, okay, we ain't got to be perfect. This ain't got to be like this. We can just be who we are.
We
can just be. All right. And sometimes those little quirks have logical weaknesses, things that need to be improved. Look at them, see what you can do about them. Don't get stuck. But, if you recognize it, it's an opportunity for growth, opportunity to move forward, and you can embrace your individuality. And if you embrace it, then you turn it into a superpower. You're like, all right,
Ideally.
I'm gonna use this to do this, whatever it is. You can figure out how this thing that might be considered weird can be used to help somebody, help me, help somebody in my family. I guarantee you that you got a little cousin or a little niece or nephew somewhere that does the exact same thing that you do in the exact same way, and they think it's weird. So if you come along and as auntie or uncle or big cousin or whatever and say, oh yeah, I do that too, blah, 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 blah.
If they respect you in that season,
you have now taken away that sense of, oh my God, I'm the only one, something must be wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. So again, generational wellness is where we're going. Now you've let them know, hey, come on, hold my hand, we're going to press forward. Yep, that might be a little bit different, but I got that too. So we're going to roll with it and make the best of it, right? Okay, so that's how you express your uniqueness in your everyday life. You let it come out, you let it shine, you celebrate who you are authentically, and you don't worry about conforming. You don't worry about being like the next person, the 12th person on Instagram with the same, posts.
Pick a thing.
Pick a thing.
It's the sheep. And that's correct. Because again, and I'm not saying that uniformity or conformity is bad. I'm just saying that it's boring. But I also understand that we are all, in my personal opinion, but I also understand that we are all conditioned in this way. So I'm not like, if you're a conformist, you suck. Like we was all conformists at 14. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole, they spend all this time teaching you you're such a unique, special individual kid, and then they make you wear uniforms school. And you know what I mean? They all want you to be the same standard of academic excellence, the same standard of like everybody wants you to become the same. So once you can see and appreciate your originality and embrace your uniqueness, okay, including the quirks, which we will have another name for soon. The following things open up, okay? 1, you gain the power of self-awareness, okay, which is cool. And 2, you get to upgrade your self-confidence. Okay, so gaining the power of self-awareness is a super transformative step to embracing your uniqueness because it's all about giving you the clarity about what helps you really step out of conformity. Like, what is the thing that makes you so unique from all the other people around you? Because if you're just like the people around you, then y'all are really all the same person. And what kind of world is that? A dictatorship, actually, is what it is.
Oh, God, don't say it.
A dictatorship is actually what it is. An authoritarian state where everyone is the same.
Oh, God.
I mean, someone say that about communism. I don't know. Pick your political poison. To me, none of the systems really work that well, but that's not what we're here to discuss.
Nope.
So anyway, it's all about finding the clarity of what makes you so different than the other people and who you are rather than the things that you do so that you can truly align with your most authentic, real, true self, okay? In order to do that, though, you got to gain a certain level of emotional mastery, okay? Now, when I say mastery, this is not a video game, okay? You're not going to stay up all night for weeks and weeks and finally beat the boss
level 37.
At the level in the game, okay? This is a lifelong journey we're talking about. This ain't just like, oops, snap. So it's really once you are able to gain the ability to have control over your emotions and your instinctive responses to that snitching test that it sounds like we getting ready to take. You get to, I mean, it's just on yourself. I mean, it can work, but I also feel like are people going to use it against you? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We're doing this. We should do a review of these tests.
We are.
That should be one of the episodes this month. But anyway, if you can identify your emotional triggers, right? Then you can manage your reactions, then you can make more informed decisions that really resonate with who you authentically are. So if you've been a person who's been like traditionally quiet or like letting things sort of roll off your back, but you realize you're really not that person, I'm not saying to pop off. I'm not saying, remember we're talking about emotional mastery. So you should have some level of regulations and emotional, But maybe you do speak up for yourself a little more. Maybe you're a little assertive a little more. Um, Little things. I'm not saying get disrespectful. I'm not saying get crazy, but it helps because instead of just reacting to life and whatever's happening to you, you're actively planning it, molding it, um, becoming a different person in the mix. You are steering yourself toward whatever is necessary changes for you, more personal fulfillment, and ultimately your overall wellness. Okay, if you be holding this stuff aside all the time,
Mm.
as an emotional stuffer, I'm part of the emotional stuffers club, I should say, and class because we're always learning to improve. But yeah, you can only stuff but so long. Have you ever shaken up a soda bottle and then let the top off? That's what we talking about. In whatever emotional field, whether it's you're super aggressive or you're super quiet, any which way, if you are not balanced, I know I'm a Gemini, I'm always gonna bring it up. That thing will explode. So just be aware. So emotional steadiness, having this emotional mastery
I love that.
ongoing basis. You're working at it though. I'm not saying you're gonna get it right every day.
Yeah.
You're talking to me, okay? It is nothing for me to cuss somebody out. Now I have to know. I mean, it really depends. If you're a stranger, like usually I'm all about public safety, so I'm probably not gonna like run up on somebody I don't know. But in spaces where I feel comfortable, if you push me and I'm close to the edge, you know, I probably have given warnings. I go blah blah gunshots. Now everybody can get these bullets. You understand me? So anyway,
listen, I saw Priscilla Schreier taking off her earrings on that post today. You gotta watch it.
Okay, I'm behind. Shout out to Priscilla Schreier. Girl, you took off some earrings.
She was like,
I'm proud of
you. Push me. And she took her earrings off and laid them down on the
That's
pulpit.
a Dallas girl. Oh, you've been hanging out with Sarah. You've been hanging out with Sarah Jakes Roberts. I know that. I know that. Anyway, sometimes you gotta be that person. But emotional steadiness, okay, because that sounds like a person that's
and steadiness doesn't mean that you don't have ups and downs, like you're saying. You might have an up, you might have a down, but can you regulate the train to keep up? I hit a button. Oh, I did
to keep yourself and everyone around you.
Then you kind of get back on and kind of want to ride that wave of steadiness.
So emotional steadiness allows you to be driven by insight, right? Because if your nervous system is regulated, you're in a stable, peaceful, calm place. You're able to see what's coming at you, what's leaving, what's coming from the sides. You're not like all caught off guard, right? You're not reacting. So being self-aware means that you're able to recognize your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, your motivations. You have like a super clear vision of yourself, first and foremost, and what is going on around you that you want to be a part of or completely disengaged from. Or you recognize there's a little tug of war. Like sometimes I'm in the matrix, but I'm not trying to be, so I need to pull out, right? So that's just something you got to work on. But you're able to like assess everything because everything's just not coming at you in waves and then you just seeing red and getting overwhelmed. Okay.
But that again goes back to the different brains. And we've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah,
and we will probably talk about at a later date. But you know, you have really 6 different brains. We'll just hit on 3. But you have that gut brain that just the immediate
the nuck if you buck brain.
That exactly. It happens. Let's go. Let's pop off. Then you have the little higher level brain. I think it's called the limbic, which lets you say, okay,
let me think about this.
Let me not just go 100. Let me go. And then there's that higher level where even after you think about it, you go, and the best result for this is, that's your most logical brain, that even given all your feelings about it, given what you think you should do, what you could do, what I wish they would, what they want to do, all of those things, you evolve up to that highest level that says, but this is the best thing to do at this point.
And ideally, when you make a decision, all 3 of those brains should be involved.
Yeah.
So before you go, yeah, I'm finna do it. I calculated the cost. I'm gonna slap this man on international television. Okay? We might regret it later. We might think about it later. I don't think so. But touchstone cultural.
That's how that goes.
Touchstone cultural moment. So making changes can become a lot easier when you are, again, emotionally regulated, and just aligning with your individual uniqueness, right? So practicing and maintaining self-awareness, we talk about this a lot. These are like repeatable. These are tenets. We'll call these CGW tenets of practicum. Okay, these are the things you can practice on a regular basis. We say them all the time, and you probably know them by heart. Meditation, journaling, seeking feedback from people you trust. We did a whole episode, I don't remember where, go back, about people that are trustworthy and people that are untrustworthy. Okay, so them three things right there. Okay,
Mindfulness,
CG Dub, practicum, meditation,
journal,
journaling,
seeking
seeking
feedback.
advice and feedback from trusted people. So self-awareness is really just like a cornerstone of authenticity, right? It really empowers you to embrace your identity and hopefully live genuinely happy. Live well. That's what we're talking about, okay?
How do you live well? How do you
live
teach your
well?
children to live well? How do you go back and teach your elders how to live well? Listen,
Yeah.
listen.
She's just been on the exodus, so she knows a lot about these things. But yeah, it's all hard.
It's part of our history. It's the way we grew up. So sometimes you got to go back and,
and
listening to my brothers and my sisters being born in 1932, 1936. There's some
the
stuff
Jim Crow era
that they
the
went through that I will never have to go through, and some things that they carry from that were useful to them at that time, but may not be as useful right now. And so the adjusting and the adapting and the woo-sawing of
the
it,
woo-sawing.
the woo-sawing of all that generational trauma and triggers and tricks, because you had to have them.
Traumas and tricks.
Yeah, that's a book, ain't it? Traumas, triggers, and tricks. You had
don't fill it out. Why? Go ahead.
You had to find those things to survive during that time period. But now some of them may not be useful. So you just have to, it's the education process, like I just like to say, upward and downward.
I mean, it's a lot of things. And again, we talked about this. If you have not watched our episodes from last month, which were all living Black history, a lot of our history has to deal with this. So all this sort of personal wellness, emotional well-being talk, like I can't even blame the Jim Crow era folks that are still living for not having the energy or the time to think about that. You want to know why? Because they was worried about their houses getting burned down, their churches getting burned down, getting lynched,
coming up missing
these kids alive. Can I stay alive? Can we keep food on the table? We doing well economically. People are coming to knock us down. So I understand it. Okay, so I understand it. Moving back to our topic, now you get to upgrade your self-confidence, right? So now we've done our whole self-awareness thing. So now we're talking about upgrading your self-confidence. And that's all about understanding the metaphorical shoulders of uniqueness that you stand on, okay? The building blocks of who you are, what makes you you and what makes you unique. So these metaphorical shoulders, okay, of your self-confidence are your abilities, your worth, your value. Now, as Cat Williams once said, it's esteem of yourself. I think a lot of times people think that other people, and it's not all our fault. We watch movies, we're influenced by pop culture, regular culture. We hear things in our various houses of faith. There's a lot that goes into this, okay? We think people will give us our worth, our esteem, our value.
What people think about you, give you
your esteem. Validate my abilities. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. We're just identifying the box that is the problem, okay? So hopefully you're able to sort of do some deprogramming, all right, around that. That's just based on you, not what your mama said, daddy said, cousins, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, all the homies, whatever thing. We're just talking about you, how you feel about you, okay? That you are on the process to learning about you, liking you, and hopefully, like we said, at some point, this is an ongoing process, loving you, so that you are proud and empowered to embrace what makes you different from everybody else, okay? And you're able to do it with passion, flair, and pizzazz, honey. If you're going to do it big, okay? Because there's just one you, not 20, not 10, not 2, as they used to say on some little Christian record I have.
Oh, I remember Cheetah Bonita.
Do-do-do-wow. Because God only made one you, honey, or the universe, or the Most High, or the Almighty, whatever you want to say. So we're all works in progress, okay? Us included. I want you to think, yes, we are the authorities on all things creating generational wellness. However, we are still hot messes. So anyway, all these things we're talking to you about, we too are working on. Lukewarm messes? Jesus doesn't even do lukewarm. I'd rather be hot or cold.
Hot or cold.
Okay. So anyway, here are some of the things that you can do to upgrade your self-confidence as a treatment plan. Just recognize the very simple fact that you're valuable. Full stop, period. Okay? Whether anybody celebrates you, is excited about you, whatever. Do we always need somebody else? I'm asking myself these things. These are things I ask myself. Like, dang, girl, why do you care about that? Like, if this person don't say it, does it make it not true? What about what you think? What about what you need? What about what you care about? These are things I'm asking myself. Okay. So you're valuable. Full stop. If you focus on this, on seeing it, on understanding it for yourself, but start where you can start if you're crawling, okay? See through the other people's eyes if you can't see it for yourself. I was actually just telling somebody that Jason Dearden and Russell Hornsby believed in me as a performer before I ever believed in myself, and as a storyteller before I ever believed in myself. They probably still believe in me more than I believe in myself. But I'm grateful for those people, okay? Because at the time when I was in my embryonic stage of trying to figure out what kind of creative or storyteller I would be, those Black men poured into me, and I appreciate them to this day. Love y'all, right? So sometimes it does start with seeing how other people see you, and then you be like, is that true? Let me evaluate for myself, okay? So get it how you live. And then little by little, okay, as you look at it through other people's eyes, or maybe you start to see things that through their lenses, right? That eats away and reduces your vulnerability to criticism, whether it's your own self-critic. I am too a part of that club, as Pam also just decided she was also going to put me on blast about, but I do it to myself. So whether it's your own criticism or other people's criticism, both are detrimental. This will, excuse me, allow you to stand firm in your identity, right? Criticism is the Pac-Man. No. If self-confidence is your Pac-Man, okay, the little ghosts in Pac-Man are the criticism, okay? They always trying to get you. They always trying to kill you. They always trying to,
but you need to eat them up.
Assassinate your character. So that even when you are faced with disapproval, skepticism, whatever the case may be, you know what your worth is because it's not solely based on external validation. Do you know what that means? What other people think about you, okay? And external validation is the big lexicon words, okay? But it's really what other people think about you. And if you care about what other people think about you more than how you think about you, something is awry, okay? That's not the path to creating generational wellness. Mm-hmm. Self-confidence is all about learning how to bounce back from criticism, okay? Quickly. The big dictionary term for that, excuse me, is resilience, if you've ever heard anyone use that term. So that's just like radical self-acceptance, right? That's a superpower. Even when you messing up. I mess up all the time, every day. I have to talk myself out like, girl, it was not that bad. But I'd be like, yes, it was. It was terrible. You sounded like an idiot when you said that. Like, why would you say? I'd be like, girl, chill out. So these are active conversations that I be having with myself.
Talking to yourself.
And that's what you should be doing. I'm just being honest. Unless there's another way to do things, I don't know. I can't tell you, but what I know, okay? Because it's actively like training the muscle to like block criticism. Or in the very least, if it gets in there, it don't have to stay there, okay? It doesn't have to be a permanent way of living your life. Next, tell your self-confidence, boost yourself to say, it's okay to be a work in progress. We say it all the time. Every day I got to be like, girl, you ain't arrived. You're not that bomb, but you're trying, okay? You're trying, all right?
Step by step.
Day by day. Now, that was a great theme song as well for a Caucasian television show. Just accept yourself. You're striving for continuous growth, continuous progression, continuous self-improvement, okay? That's a testament to the fact that you're committed to the process of living, okay? Your self-confidence is getting stronger, all right? Because you like, I'm still here. I'm still going. We're still progressing. We're moving forward. Forward movement is the key. And even if you have feedback from somebody, even if somebody got something to say, because newsflash, somebody gonna always have something to say. Okay, you can hear it. You might take it in and be like, that's something to consider. You can be like, Wakanda forever. I reject that wholeheartedly. So it just won't be that big of a deal. Okay. Lastly, for this whole boost of self-confidence thing, it just helps you upgrading your self-confidence is all about you being well. Mentally, physically, emotionally. You'd be surprised. I've been doing these somatic workouts, these somatic yoga workouts. So many things. I think a lot of us think like weight is all like you eat too much and you don't move around. Your life is just so sedentary. Some of that is emotional weight, emotional baggage. Things you ain't passed through, clear through, things that live in your body on the low.
That's deep.
It's a whole science and spiritual psychology and cleansing around that stuff. But it's true. I mean, I would say try it. They're all over the YouTubes. But yeah, just do it. You'll want to do things to make yourself feel better. That's part of your self-confidence. Once the internal things get together, the external things will follow. Okay. Which is really also a tenet I want to say, an addendum tenet. As inside, so outside. Okay. So all this, a lot of people, y'all be at the gym. Okay. Cardio. I'm so cute. Instagram photo. But if I talk to you for 5 minutes, I would know you're the most insecure person with a BBL I've ever met. Or you got all the abs and amazingness in the world. Fine as all outdoors, okay? But, bruh, you just, and here, you're a little horse. You're a little horse, okay? So we want to match. We want the curtains to match the drapes. I mean, we want to match. We don't want to be having fly exteriors and then I talk to you and I'm like,
bless their heart.
Schadenfreude, like I'm confused. No, what is it? Not Schadenfreude. Not disassociation. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
I don't know what the word is. I can't think of it. But it's the thing where you think something is something and then you find out it's something else. It's not, they're not congruent. They don't go together. Okay. So
cognitive dissonance? No.
Yeah, there we go. Cognitive dissonance. I was way off.
But I being very German in that moment.
I know, Schadenfreude came up, and that's about not that at all. I don't take pleasure in other people's misfortune. I know where that came from. Anyway, see, because your inside is not well. So anyway, the whole idea, right, and this whole upgrading your self-confidence, getting to being powerful in terms of your self-awareness, life gonna be lifing, okay? And really what you want to be able to do is be the calm in the midst of the continual chaos that is your personal life, the life of
everybody else is around you,
and the life of the whole damn world, because everybody ain't learning their lessons. You was locked in the house for almost 3 years and you ain't learned your lessons. Out here doing genocides, blowing people up, drowning people, killing people, just doing foolishness, okay? From the pit.
Running up on people's cars.
I mean,
I haven't even told you that story.
I don't know.
Yes, I did.
Anyway, you want to be well. You want to be in touch with your star player on the inside so that it can radiate from the outside and help heal, hopefully, some of the craziness that is this world that can be disgusted and ugly at times. And so, very quickly, here are some additional benefits, right, to embracing this one of one, the only one, as Beyonce would say. Benefits that are super fire, okay? And this is really like, we have to add this as part of the tenet to you're one of one, the only one, because I think sometimes when people think they do self-work, they think that it's only in a vacuum and it's just for them. But as we've been saying, when you start to get healthier, then you attract health and better people and all of those things, which is really what you want at the end of the day. But I think we can do it outside, and then it'll track on the inside, when it's really the opposite. If you're not doing the work inside, nothing's coming from the outside. That's true.
And as our therapist always says and told, from the beginning when I started working with him, he said, listen, when you change, the way people interact with you have to change.
That's all.
So if it's been fitting together like this and you change and you like, oh no, I'm gonna stand up. I'm not gonna lay that way. I'm gonna stand up. When this person comes with you,
It's a
trying to
mismatch.
come this way,
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
they can't get in because you've changed. You've changed your perspective. You've changed the way you operate. You've changed the way you stand. You've changed the way you talk. You've changed the way you accept information. You've changed the way you listen. All of that has changed. So this that was working before is not working now. And that's what you want to have happen on the inside.
And that's actually your first point. You will have genuine connections with people you are genuinely connected to, because real recognize real, deep calls out to deep, real ones recognize real ones, however you want to say it, okay? But the authentic you is the authentic people at the end of the day. That's the real, like, short version. Being your genuine self invites other people in your space, to her point, to be just as genuine. Sometimes
or they feel uncomfortable.
Or they feel uncomfortable when they get exhumed.
I've seen it.
Exhumed stage left, right? So yeah, if you are getting deep, you invite other people into a deeper level of creating bonds and more meaningful relationships. We're back to better health. We talked about it again, but I just want to reiterate, okay? Your mental health, your physical health, your insides, your skin glowing. You know, some of y'all be
chronic
drinking
pain,
all the
migraines,
supplements, doing all the things. Sometimes you just got to get well on the inside, and you'd be surprised. Your body's 60% water, maybe more, so the people say. It responds. We've seen those tests where, you know, water and flowers and plants and all that stuff respond to negative stimuli and positive stimuli in a particular way, right? So if you're actively doing the work of getting mentally and emotionally better, which will lead to you wanting to have the inside match the outside, so that physical got to come up. You heard me? And and you're living, you know, as your true self. That's not just good for you, but good for other people. Like, you know, you gonna glow up. Okay, there are studies that show, like, you sleep better, right? When you are in this state, you have fewer migraines, you have less chronic pain in your body.
That stress is gone.
Less levels of depression, less levels of anxiety, because now you don't give them. And then it just, again, boosts your overall happiness and your potential for the personal fulfillment. You are literally going to be generating generational wellness, okay? Creating generational wellness and doling that thing out like hot fries at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever your persuasion is, okay?
Yeah. And, you know, I'm always concerned about the youth. I'm always concerned about the young people, the teenagers, adolescents. This authenticity is critical to that generation. They do not like the fake.
For sure.
They're not going to talk to you.
It started with the millennials. No, actually, I'm going to say Generation X.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout y'all out. X, millennials, Z, but them alphas, maybe.
They're not playing. If you are not authentic, and if you cannot figure out how to be authentic with them, you're not going to be able to communicate with them at all. And so don't even talk about
fake and a phony.
Don't talk about creating no generational wellness with those people if you are not ready to be 100% authentic.
Don't talk about it.
And you can't be authentic if you have not done the work to get well. If you still hiding stuff and not telling the truth about this and trying to skirt around this part because, oh, how's that gonna make me look? Listen, forget about having a relationship with them. They can smell fake 100 miles away, and they're not playing with y'all. So
gotta get that off your little chest.
I know it was hurting me. I have been holding that in for a little bit, but you have to embrace.
This is a baby boomer talking to baby boomer, so
you have to embrace who they are during these formative years, and you gotta lay that groundwork for the authenticity and embracing the individuality, and they will respect you if you tell them, listen, I did this, and this way, but I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think a lot of what you're doing is better. Can you help me? Can you show me? Can you talk to me about pride, this? You got to get rid of that pride. So, you know, I'm just saying, if you're talking about building generational wellness, you better come correct, come honest. You got to choose to live authentically. You empower yourself to take off the masks. You take the mask off, and it's courageous, and you're going to be scared and all that. But I promise you, it's going to make your whole family better. It really is. I've been I've been in Texas for 2 months. I've been learning a lot of things about my family. We've been talking about a lot of things. I've been hearing a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, but I feel like we're better at the end of the day because of all the things that have been coming up and coming out, and discovery, healing,
creating generational wellness.
My brother has been telling me in our late night, recover from the day, I have learned so much about my family, and I thought I knew a lot. But again,
there's always more.
Part of that has been very healing for me. I'm like, oh, so that's how come XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. So then you move
cryptic, but it's okay.
Forward into a place of understanding why things are sometimes the way they are. And you got a choice. Once you understand them, either you could change them or you could keep them the way they are. But now you know the facts, then you have a choice to make a decision. Another thing, and just talked about this a little bit, is finding your tribe, finding like-minded individuals who want to get well. You can't be around people and you're trying to get well and they want to keep being fake and this and that and whatever. It's just too much.
And it's going to get on your nerve. I feel like we talked about this in previous episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime last year towards the beginning of the year. But it's not, like she said, it's not going to fit. So, and it's hard work. So you want to have people
this work to get yourself well, to move toward wellness is very hard work. So you don't have time to be play
and once you start doing it, it's going to consume you, and it's going to be the thing that you do the most and talk about all the time. And so you want to be with people that's going to be like, man, I feel you. Like, I feel you. I know exactly where you come from.
And it's not deep to talk about it all the time. It's part of the growth process. You know what I'm saying?
You always come up with that deep stuff. Like, why you always be so deep?
At every level, if you're connected with people that are like that, they're also having a revelation on a daily basis about something that then can help you, and you guys are just growing together. So find your people. That's all I'm saying.
Together.
Set clear intentions about what you're going to be doing. Go after it. You got to be brave, I'm telling you, because some of it is going to be like, oh shoot, I ain't even want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that. But do you want to get well? As Jesus said, do you want to be healed?
That's always
do you want to be well? Because if you do, there's some things that you're going to have to do. Take up your bed and walk. Stop laying over there, going over the same thing, deciding this is okay because this is what we've always done for generations and so forth and so on. You don't want to do that. You want to move forward.
And you give other people the permission to do the same. Now, the big elephant in the room that we have not talked about, right, is fear. A lot. I can hear y'all being like, that all sounds really well and that sounds great, but you don't know my life, you don't know my plight. If I really am who I am, like, people will hate me. They'll stone me. I'm scared. There's fear. I'm not saying that's not valid. You could be absolutely right. But as Lecrae said on his podcast, The Deep End, which I really enjoy. Shout out to Tim Ross and the whole Basement family. Y'all are doing great work over there. Choose your heart. I mean, being this person who you are that's not authentically you is hard. Being authentically you is hard. So choose your heart. And I think that, again, it's a social anxiety, fear of not fitting in, being labeled as different. All you can do is identify it, be very specific about what the fear is, right? Start to pinpoint that stuff. Be like, I am fearful of rejection by this person because, okay? Get that journal out. Start to track the thing. I'm not saying you're not going to feel it, but at least you'll have a track record, okay? As you go back to look at, you've documented your feelings, talk to your therapist, talk to your trusted group, assess that thing yourself, okay? You might come up with some answers. And then, you got to do the replacement, right? So once you write what it is, you got to start to dismantle that, where you want to be at. What kind of person do you want to be? And that's transforming and reconforming your mind a bit, okay?
Reframing.
Just be step into some anxious situations. I think the thing about anxiety, and this is as a person who very much struggles with anxiety, sometimes you got to put yourself in an anxious provoking situation and just feel all the fears. And as Pam used to say, do it anyway, or suck at it, or whatever. The point is, as they told me,
you're probably not gonna die.
Right, as they told me on my first day of production on How to Get Away with Murder, no one's gonna die today because nobody got the call sheets or the food or whatever. You might feel like you're gonna die, but no one's gonna die today because people snickered or laughed or whatever the thing is, and that thing might not even happen. That's what I found. Usually, whatever I'm fearful of, it really didn't happen, or if it happened, I just got through it. Okay, um, get your affirmations on. We talked about this in previous episodes. Um, affirm yourself. Okay, or listen to affirmations. I listen to affirmations all the time. It's all kind of apps, YouTube affirmations. Have at it. Do you?
As the people say, sometimes you just got to get your mind right.
Okay.
Your mind is not right.
Mhm.
You got to get your mind right. You got to recognize that you got to get your mind right. You got to do whatever it takes to get your mind right. Not drugs or anything like that. I'm talking about you have to make adjustments in the way your mind thinks.
Correct.
I know some of y'all be like, I can't do that unless I'm smoking this, that. Whatever.
We're gonna challenge you on that.
We're gonna challenge.
You gotta let go of your judgments, man, of yourself. Again, that goes back to the criticism thing we was talking about earlier, right? That chews and gnaws away at you. And so if you are constantly in guilt, constantly in shame, I'm sure that affects the 3 brains we was talking about earlier. So you gotta shake those things. Talk about it, journal about it, and then burn up the pages. I don't care. Just somatically get it out of your body. And then you got to invest in your personal development, right? Continue to listen to this podcast, other podcasts, read some books, prayer, journal, go see a shaman, do whatever you feel like you got to do safely and responsibly. So that you can invest in yourself, in your self-confidence, in your self-awareness, in upgrading all the things that make you uniquely you. And then, of course, it never hurts to have a support system, right? Again, we've done numerous episodes about that level of support system. And essentially, this is a huge, another like subpart, like a under this tenet, right? You can't be afraid to take risk if you're going to be a person who creates generational wellness, because everything about creating generational wellness is about being courageous. You are literally doing something maybe no one in your family has done. You've never seen anybody do it before you. So you just got to be kind of willing to like jump off the deep end. Okay. We've all done that in the pool. We was all scared. Like, man, I don't know. And then you do it and it's like a fun. You're missing out. We've done a Marco Polo and a thing and this and that. And then it turns out to be fun. You know what I mean? So the more you do scary, hard things, particularly in this Create Generational Wellness life, as you are learning to be and embrace your one-on-one, being the only one. That's a really big part of it, is that you have to literally just throw caution to the wind sometimes.
Listen, we're here to encourage you. We want to help you. We want to help you as you help us as we walk through this journey together. And it's a process of personal growth. And we're going to keep at it. 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 We're going to celebrate what makes us unique. We're going to cultivate those things. And it's an individual and a shared journey. Like I said,
it's an individual and shared journey.
You got to do it yourself. But like I said, you got to help the younger ones. You got to help the older ones. And you got to embrace the diversity. Everybody's not going to be like you. And it's okay. Believe it or not, everybody don't have to think like you. Everybody doesn't have to do things the same way that you do them. But that's what makes the strength of community. And that's what makes understanding that the world can benefit from all the diversity. If you start to see in your family that you can benefit from the way your cousin think and the way your auntie think and this, that, and other, and when y'all come together for the meeting, for the family reunion or the this or the cruise or whatever y'all gonna do, if everybody can respect everybody's opinion and diversity in the room, you're like, okay, if this can work in my family, if this can work in my family, I'm sure I can get it to work in other places, right? And that strength is what helps you benefit from your individuality and your uniqueness. It's the thing that causes that uniqueness and individuality to be so important and so critical to make things operate better. So be original, embrace your uniqueness. It's going to increase your self-esteem. It's going to help you accept your identity, boost your confidence, which is essential to creating a life filled with happiness and personal fulfillment and positive outcomes and generational wellness.
Correct. And I want to say this because I feel it. before we get into this really dope profile. That's gonna be dope. It's gonna be quick. Um, yeah, shoot. Now you made me lose my train of thought.
I didn't say a word.
But you made me lose my train of thought. I was gonna say part of also what I think is the issue with you're the only one of one, right? Is we kind of got to, with all the deprogramming we were talking about conformity. We also have to deprogram from stunting culture. Like you can value your uniqueness, your originality. You can value your originality, embrace your uniqueness, but you ain't got to stunt on nobody else because like you ain't got to be like I'm better than you because like again that's about the diversity of it. Like this is cool that you and they're them, and there doesn't need to be any competition about
diversity versus comparison. It doesn't have to be comparison.
It doesn't have to be comparison.
It's diversity, but it's not comparison.
And that's just not like a Black culture thing. That's a human thing. And so I think we've been programmed for that because there are people that profit off of our, what's the word I want to say? Division.
Striving.
Division, actually.
Division and striving.
And us really hating on each other. Okay, real quick. Let's get into this profile. Okay, so today we learned about this woman. Her name is Gladys Alberta Bentley. First of all, I just want to draw your attention to the suit game. Okay, the fit, if nothing else. Okay, so you've probably never heard of this woman unless you're a part of maybe the queer or drag or trans community. I read a lot of disturbing things in Jet magazine today that I'll have to share for another time because we're pressed. But this Black woman is pretty cool, I think. I am a heterosexual person, but I think she's awesome because she was able to, again, be original and embrace her uniqueness in a time where this was not, when I say not a thing, in the Jet magazine, they're referring to this as the third sex. And I said, I don't even know what those words mean. I don't know. Anyway, Gladys Alberta Bentley was a blues singer and a pianist during the Harlem Renaissance. This was like her heyday. She was born in Philly. Shout out to Philadelphia. Birth date, August 12th, 1907. Okay. And I'm sure things were not popping out in Philly the way that she wanted them to be. So she decided she needed to move to New York. Okay. These were her people. It's the Harlem Renaissance. Okay. Everybody want to be a part of that time. So she got there and she started in the rent party circuit. Then she started getting to the nightclub scene. And they said she could like sing down. She had like a real raspy tone, right? She killed on the keys, but she also came dressed in this suit. Okay. Listen, the suit game is fly. I don't even care. I don't care. Okay. About the lesbianism aspect of it. This is a fly. She gave you top hats, tails, and canes. Okay. So she had a growling voice. She had a trumpet-like scat. And they often, because she dressed like this, would promote her. The event promoters would promote her as a male impersonator, which also sounds rude. And she filled the venues up. She had a lot of rowdy, raunchy songs. I think everybody was upset about WAP and several other songs. I read some things today. She might have had us beat in some of these. Or maybe they're in the tradition of Gladys Alberta Bentley. How about that? Langston Hughes praised her and said she's an amazing exhibition of musical energy, a large, dark, masculine lady, okay, whose feet pounded the floor while her fingers pounded the keyboard. A perfect piece of African sculpture animated by her own rhythm. Langston Hughes said that, ladies and gentlemen. Can he put words together or can he put words together? So yeah, she was very, very popular when she started in the nightclub scene at the Harlem venues, the Cotton Club, the iconic gay speakeasy, the Clam House, which I just learned about today. I know nothing about that. She knew how to maneuver in Harlem during the Depression and the Prohibition eras as a Black queer woman. That just says a lot, period. But after the Prohibition, white people stopped hanging out in Harlem because they thought it was cute to hang out with Black people and be other and avant-garde and all of that. So after Prohibition, like her Harlem Renaissance career sort of fell apart. So she moved to Cali, all right. And she continued to record music, toured, performed in a lot of upscale supper clubs, bars. But she had to tone down her act because now we're in the 1950s and everything is very, very conservative. If you know that time or have watched documentaries about that time, then you know. This is communism, this is the McCarthy era,
Right.
this is all the things, right? Just from a historical standpoint. So being gay, being a lesbian, meant that you were considered a menace to national security, which we've heard that before. Shout out to J. Edgar Hoover, for being a horrible human and a communist. Okay, I don't know how they were putting communism and homosexuality together, but sometimes when white men,
that's Donald Trump.
But sometimes when white men are afraid, they make heinous and egregious, ridiculous leaps. And so people were saying that a lot of her ingenuity was that even though she was probably very much a lesbian, like eventually she ended up marrying this man, and I saw a picture of him today, and I was like, please, what do you call a beard for a woman? I actually don't know. But I was like, she was not feeling this man. So it's my thing that I think that she was actually a lesbian for her entire life, but she knew where the bag was at. And so what she decided to do was become more of a traditional Black woman. She wrote a really fascinating article in Ebony called I Am a Woman Again. This was
in 1952.
So this is when she was talking about the hormone, and I'm doing air quotes if you can't see me, hormone treatment she received that, boosted all her womanly hormones. So now she felt like she was attracted to men and wanted to get married. They said she got married twice to a man. Somebody else said she was married to a woman, but can't nobody really prove it. It's all really hearsay. But anyway, she wrote a really amazing article about what she was dealing with. I think I in the words of Kerry Washington, I don't believe you. I really think that she was actually a lesbian her entire life, but she did what she had to do to conform, as we've been talking about, and get in the bag. So she kind of went the opposite way of what we're talking about. But at least at some point, she was in her originality and her uniqueness. And so she actually, one of her main things, I guess if you want to Google this, she was on the Groucho Marx show in 1958. Her mom, I guess, was Trinidadian. So I think that we can find pictures and footage of her playing piano on the set, and she very much is in a dress and doing the whole, womanly thing. Unfortunately, Miss Bentley passed away in 1960, and she succumbed to pneumonia. She passed in California with her mother. She was actually going to become an ordained minister. And that's a whole nother situation about queer folks in the church, but we don't have time. And yeah, I think today she's really a pioneer. As I was learning today, for the queer community, lesbian community, the drag community, the trans community, of people who were sort of pioneering this. I feel differently on the inside than what I look like on the outside. And I don't feel like conforming to gender roles in terms of dress, style, who I love, all of those things. So
Women's History Month.
I think she's pretty cool. Thank you so much for your time. We've been before you a little. I don't mind the longer episodes. I think we've been giving good game. We've been giving history lessons. Watch it or listen in parts. Do what you feel like you have to do. Okay, I'm not mad at you. We're gonna be doing more of this. This is just the first tenet that we have, which is the CGW tenet. That's Create Generational Wellness tenet. You're one of one, the only one. And we're gonna be talking about another tenet next week. But you got to come back to figure out what that is. And you will have absolutely no idea what we're doing if you are not subscribed on the YouTube channel, following us on IG, Facebook, fan base. We're at Create Generational Wellness on all of the platforms. And yeah, we're just going to keep rocking throughout Women's History Month. We're going to be laying the foundation of these tenets. So you're like, I check off as a Create Generational Wellness candidate, or that sounds like something I would be interested in. So you know where to start, what kinds of things to do to begin the journey as we go along here. So with that, we thank you for your time. We bid you adieu. And we will see you next week.
Next Thursday.
Peace out.
Bye.
Pray for my body, please.